What's up? Welcome back to my channel, or for the first time if you're new. I'm Sylvan, and today I'm going to be reacting to an Intermission teaser, High Octane Farewell. I'm not entirely sure what this is going to be. It has Bernice in the thumbnail, so maybe this is just a Bernice teaser with a slightly different naming structure, or maybe this is something a bit more. Since it's called High Octane Farewell, it might be sort of a send-off to the main storyline portion of 1.2 being out in the Outer Ring, but that's a bit odd for that to be the case in the middle of the version, so I'm not sure. Either way, we won't find out unless we watch it, so feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoy the video, leave a comment on your thoughts, and let's get into this. Ooh, interesting
Today,
art style.
We are all gathered here to honor our dearest friend. A warrior, a hero, is leaving us. Speeding straight for a new world to embark on a new journey. The Outer Ring will never forget the blood, sweat, and fuel you spilled.
Is this just a random person, or is this talking about Pompeii?
Put in front.
North wind, light breeze, 20% humidity.
The vibe here is interesting.
Perfect weather for a casual stroll.
You kids these days.
Yeah, okay, this is much more just all of the Sons of Caledon so far.
Hey, buddy, you still got it. Seal it up. It's time to say goodbye. We're good to go.
It's time.
You have to treat them better than that, Lucy.
Bernice!
Here I come.
Why is she jumping off a roof?
Let's pour one out for our friend.
Oh my god.
With the finest fuel in the entire Outer Ring, here's to you. Right off in style, brother.
Thank you for being a part of the Outer Ring. May you rise from the ashes. Born in the Outer Ring, we need to be just like you. Keep going. And going. Driving hard until the end of the road.
Huh. Well, this is suitably dramatic.
We'll meet again, beyond the sunset. Let's go! The farewell party starts now!
Straight to a party. Huh. Interesting. So this is rather interesting. It's very straightforward. It doesn't really have too much to it. It's really just this one thing, but I'm intrigued by it. Given the framing of this, the general vibe, and also how it ends, I would imagine that this is realistically one of two things. Either this is essentially a send-off of Pompeii after his death, given that immediately after this they go into the farewell party, but it also could just be something much more simple, and this is a much more like simplistic or goofy or non-specific scenario, but it definitely, regardless of who it is specifically that they are sending off here, this very much has the vibe of a funeral. I really love the opening visual of this crow looking down at what's happening, with in its eye Caesar appearing. Because first off, the crow showing up, it being the first thing we really see here, this being the first thing we see here alongside the general vibe that we have going into this, very much gives the idea of death, given that this is a scavenger creature. A creature that arrives when there is something that died, and therefore also serves all kinds of thematic purposes in line with death alongside that. So here it's giving me the idea that it is looking over this funeral, observing how this dead person is remembered by the people who cared about them. As it shifts to Caesar, and she speaks a brief speech saying, "We are all gathered here to honor our dearest friend. A warrior, a hero, is leaving us, speeding straight for a new world, to embark on a new journey. Now, all of that, of course, is very fitting for a funeral speech, speaking to the idea that rather than just being dead and gone, they have moved on to somewhere beyond. Not necessarily something better, based on the wording of this, but regardless, somewhere new, somewhere different, a new journey for them to embark on, to speed towards. It's spoken within the lexicon and thought process of the Outer Ring, but holding a lot of that same general intent in a lot of funerary speeches. And we have this interesting visual of, I think this might be glasses, a broken lens of some glasses. Oh, no. This is the mirror of that bike, the damaged mirror of that bike that we can see the back of Caesar through. That makes sense, given that we can't see the people on the other side. It wouldn't be a just piece of glass or a lens. This is a mirror. That makes sense to me now. Just great perspective shot regardless, though. But she continues by saying, "The Outer Ring will never forget the blood, sweat, and fuel you've spilled. We will always remember the hard work you've put in, friend." As we get this cool visual of this symbol sort of igniting and twisting into the flame of Lighter's lighter. And as we pull out from it, Lighter says, "North wind, light breeze, 20% humidity." How he knows that? Who fucking knows? But he acknowledges all that and then says, "Perfect weather for a casual stroll." But the way he says that leads me to think that he's not saying it in the idea that he would literally rather be going on a stroll right now than being here, but rather that it's a shame that a good day like this, that's perfect for a casual stroll, needs to be taken up for these necessary final rites. And then in the foreground, we have the little pigs of Lucy carrying a box of just some stuff. And then we have Piper coming in saying, "You kids these days calling 280 an hour a casual stroll." Actually, based on this line, I think I misinterpreted Lighter's line. Given this line, potentially what Lighter was saying about a casual stroll was not a literal casual stroll, but rather that today is perfect for this entire funeral rite, or whatever this is. That this casual stroll that the bike is going to be going on, which has it apparently hitting up to 280 an hour, is what is perfect for the current scenario. Which is interesting. It actually falls in line pretty well with how Lighter talks, I'd say. And also fits for how Piper points that out as being odd. And then she says, "Seal it up. It's time to say goodbye." He then says, "We're good to go," signing off that all the preparations are made. The little pigs are carrying a sign, it looks like, only for Lucy to fucking brutalize one of them again. Like, why does she have to do that to them? They're little guys. And as she just fucking stomps on one of them, Lucy, rather annoyedly as usual, says, "There's work to do. Where'd she go?" Referring to Bernice in this case. And then Caesar calls out to Bernice, and she answers, jumping off of the roof, landing, as she says, "Let's pour one out for our friend," in her usual jovial tone, sort of clashing with the rest of the vibe almost. Not surprising for her. As the music shifts up, and she says, "Fireworks away," guitar comes in. We see that the little pigs, which there's 4 of, 2 of them have flamethrowers, 2 of them are playing guitar, which is cool because that means that that's a little bit of an actual diegetic element, not just a musical element. We have these big pyrotechnics. Clearly, this is, whether meant to be or not, has been set up to be a bit of a showing off celebration as well as a farewell of sorts. And she says, in her own way of honoring the dead, "With the finest fuel in the entire Outer Ring, here's to you." And she says, "Right off in style, brother." And it's at this point Caesar takes over again, continuing her speech. "Thank you for being a part of the Outer Ring. May you rise from the ashes." It's at this point that we see the vehicle that's going to be riding off into the sunset and blowing up in a moment. A man crying here. And it's moments like this and continuing through the rest of this that makes me wonder if this is actually meant to be a funeral for this bike, and maybe the bike itself is getting like faulty or whatever, and thus they can't really use it anymore, but they want to give it a proper send-off before it just fully breaks down. Maybe it's this guy's bike, that's why he's so sad. Who knows? It's hard to say. It could be for an actual person, it could be this. Either way, if it is for a person, this bike either was their bike or is symbolizing them in some way as they ride off. But either works, either functions, because I could easily see, with how goofy and weird the Sons of Caledon are, as well as the culture of the Outer Ring, I could very much see them having a funeral for a bike. But regardless, she says, "May you rise from the ashes. Born in the Outer Ring, we need to be just like you. Keep going and going. driving hard until the end of the road. And it's lines like this that make me think maybe that this is literally referring to the bike itself, but once again, it could just be talking to the bike as a way to talk through it to, metaphorically speaking, to the person who it's the bike of, who is presumably gone. At which point we see it get a little bit blown up for a moment, but that clearly is just to trigger its engines as it starts to flame, and it goes forward with this big dramatic music. The birds take off, it going forward, mirrors breaking off it barely standing. They drive alongside it to guide it over the edge, and once it's gone far enough, they know it's going to continue. They stop and just watch the sunset as it explodes. And Caesar gives a final send-off to it, saying, "We'll meet again beyond the sunset," as the sound of crows cawing in the distance surround her. They're flying away now. The dead are gone, as the entire tone shifts and fireworks begin to go off. They're now into the farewell party. Clearly, the Sons of Caledon, if not the entire Outer Ring, are not one to dwell on the dead or worry about mourning for too long, or at the very least in the traditional sense. Perhaps this in itself, this party, is a way to honor them. And as it just sort of comes to an end, we get this shot of the Sons of Caledon, all of them just wandering off towards the party, as we get the final frame of all of this being that of a panel of scrap metal that evidently came from the bike, saying, "May you rise from the ashes," repeating that phrase. And that's where they leave us. This is a cool teaser. I like what this is. It's very straightforward. I'm sort of surprised that it exists in the first place. I wasn't ever expecting it. But I like how it just sort of fleshes things out a little bit more about the way that the Outer Ring goes about things and the Sons of Caledon go about things like this. Every little bit of detail like this I very much enjoy to see more of. So I'll never be upset of them doing anything like this. I'm just surprised that it happened and so close to the release of Bernice's demo. But either way, I'm a fan of this. I think it's cool, but I don't have too much more to say about it. It's pretty straightforward, like I said. So feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoy the video. Leave a comment on your thoughts, and I hope you all have a great day. Goodbye.